remember Rav Tzuriel, we mentioned Rav Tzuriel every Thursday, well, at least I said I would. Rav Tzuriel was talking about the exceptional happiness of Sukkot, right? In the Bible, it specifically says Sukkot is, you're supposed to be extra happy, right? You celebrate before God in Sukkot just by taking a lulav and esrog, by the way. So I understand, take a lulav and esrog and then celebrate before God. Sukkot's supposed to be the happiest, even though they're all of the Chagim have v'samachta b'chagecha. That was said specifically regarding Sukkot, and even on Rosh Hashanah, it's not a chag, but there's also this aspect of happiness. Quick, Maimonidean test for you guys reading very closely. How do you fulfill the mitzvah of Simcha on Rosh Hashanah, and how is it different than the other Chagim? Anybody know? I'll give the answer, so everybody gives up.
I know it is on other Chagim, I think, but I don't know it's on.
So here's how it goes. On Chagim, you're supposed to go up to the temple and then eat Shalmei Chagiga. You have an Olas Friya, Shalmei Chagiga, and men are obligated in those korbanos, and women are not. But men are also obligated in Simcha. Simcha Sachag is by eating the shlamim, and that is eating the meat of the sacrifices, even on Chol Moed. That is equal to men and women. So how do you fulfill the commandment? By eating the meat of the sacrifice. It doesn't mention anything about wine. So that exists on the Sholosh Regalim. However, Rosh Hashanah does not have that. Instead, we default to, if you are not in Jerusalem and having Shalmei Chagiga and eating sacrificial meat on a holiday, what do you have instead? Let's say Chas v'Shalom, like we did last Shavuos, and it's looking like this Rosh Hashanah, unless they let us do what we're supposed to do. What do you do when you're stuck beyond Jerusalem? You celebrate by eating meat and drinking wine, non-sacrificial meat and regular wine. That's if you're a man. And if you're a woman, it's nice clothes. And if you're a kid, it's treats, right? So that's what exists on Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah never has Shalmei Chagiga, because Rosh Hashanah is not a regel. But Rosh Hashanah always has that aspect of Yom Tov that you have to celebrate, and therefore you should be eating meat and wine on Rosh Hashanah, and the women should have new clothing. And if you don't know how to get your wife nice clothing, which is most of us, just give her money to find what she wants. That's what you should do. Okay? Give her an allowance and get the kids what makes them happy. So in that case, Rosh Hashanah is also happy. So Rav Tzuriel brings explaining how Sukkot is the happiest of the holidays. It's the culmination. I'll read it to you what he wrote here. Passover is like the engagement between God and Israel, right? Okay. What? Yeah, Erusin, for lack of a better translation. Betrothal. And Erusin equals Kiddushin, which I guess is sanctification. But you understand, it's stage one. Chag Atzeres, Ukemo Maseh Chupav Yismin. Okay, Chag Atzeres is Shavuos, the giving of the Torah. So that is like the chuppah, actual wedding. Chag Sukkot, Ukemo Yichudu Shleimut HaChibur Ben Hashem Yisrael. Kemash B'Shem Yishmuel from the Admor Sukkot. And Sukkot is, Yichud, which, by the way, what's Yichud according to the old way, the Rambam, for example? Yichud room was not where after the chuppah we march the chassan kal to some room at the wedding hall and lock them in there for 5 minutes and look at the clock, and the rabbi's there with the witnesses and tells them not to let anybody in the door. That's, as a matter of fact, there's some old-fashioned Spartak Rabbanim who say that the idea of our yeshiva Yichud room is perverse, right? Yeah. Instead, what was Yichud and Chuppah back in the day? It meant that after the wedding ceremony, everybody goes home, including the chassan and the kal. They actually go back to his house. Okay, they go home. Okay, and I guess they got back together afterwards for a wedding meal and Sheva brachas. So Makbili was aware of this. So what does he tell people to do? If you want to be a real Rabbamist, but you're getting married in a wedding hall in South Central Jerusalem, God willing, by you soon. So, and the rest of you. So, yeah, Yoni. Yeah. So what he says is, make sure to rent an Ichud room from the hall people. Make it your residence so that you're Mekayim this whole thing. Okay, so that's what he says. And he says here further that Parshas Pinchas, he says over here, Yom Chas Tuna Tov, Yom Simchach Libo. The Ben Yoda also says about Yom Kippur, it's about giving the luchos. Okay, there's a little bit funny there. He says his own words. Chag Pesach, Balasamel Yitziatenu Mitachas Shilton Agoyim Aleinu B'Mitzrayim. Pesach is when we left the Shilton of Goyim, right? No longer Goyim taking over us. And Atzeres is when we were disconnected from the materialism, the material reality that we live in. When we receive the Torah, which is heavenly, which is divine. And Sukkot is in the harvest festival. That's specifically in the land of Israel. It's the harvest in the land of Israel. And that's when we really let the message of the mitzvahs penetrate our hearts. So I thought it was a little bit different. I'd like to, I guess, explain this differently. Passover, get this, was a refuge from in God's protection. What does it say about Pesach? What's the translation to Aramaic? Did God literally pass over the houses? Does he do a thing like that? No. So what does Chag Pesach mean? What does it mean Hashem passed over? It means he took pity in Uklus. And the translation of Korban Pesach is Devach Chayas. The Zevach Pesach is Chayas from Chus, Chas v'Shalom. God took pity on us. Did you notice it says that God will go down in the land of Egypt? Yorati, okay? Of our T be'eretz Mitzrayim. God will pass through Egypt. How does Unclus translate there? It says Itgaliti. I will reveal myself in Egypt. There was a Hitgalut of Shekhinah the night that the firstborn were smote. They're smitten. But what does it say? That was outside. The Bnei Yisrael were commanded to stay in their houses and protect themselves because God is coming to destroy. God, Bichlodo U'Atzmo, is doing it. So in that case, there was a divine revelation in Passover, but not that the people themselves saw. They were basically ensconced. They were closed in their houses, doors closed, windows locked, everything is there for the danger that's passing. But they knew that God was revealing himself outside. If they'd gone outside, they would have seen him and maybe even died. They wouldn't have been protected that way. So they had to stay in their houses until dawn also. And then at the splitting of the sea, what happened? They actually got to see God. So it was a lot, they're progressing. At Sinai, what did they do? It was not just, this is God, but actually they conversed with God. They actually were able to talk with him. That was too much for them. But you understand they achieved that. And then on tabernacles, what happens? They're united with it. When you sit in your sukkah, you're actually sitting under the Ananek Vod, which is something we discussed years ago. That's exactly what you're trying to get to. You're actually dwelling within, you're taking God's tabernacle and making it wherever you are. In this case, the opposite of Passover. So we keep going further. On Sukkot, we finally achieve that goal of being with God. So that's why it's the happiest time.
We would like to encourage our viewers to share these videos with friends and send in your responses. If you would like to obtain Birkon Nusach Eretz Yisrael or invite the rabbi for a speaking engagement, please email us at office@machonshilo.org.